Well, joining me now to better situate the petroleum subsidy removal is the Group CEO of the NNPC Limited, Madam Mele Kyari. Thanks for joining us on NTA Network News.
Thank you very much.
Right, CEO, the NNPC Limited, maybe we should say the then corporation, had always been in the eye of the storm, talking about subsidy removal. Now, let's begin with the actual amount channeled to subsidy and the rationale.
Thank you very much, Cyril. The easy thing to see is that, subsidy costs this country average of 400 billion naira every month in the current dispensation of pricing. That means that, every liter you buy is subsidized by at least 250 to 300 naira on every liter. This is clearly unsustainable, and because it is unsustainable, we have gotten to a point today where we cannot just afford it anymore. Remember that the Petroleum Industry Act, was clearly stated that by 17th of February 2022, there should be no subsidy on petroleum products of any sort. And of course, February 17 came and passed, and we are unable to pull the trigger. Of course, this is also understandable. Governments can always spend on their citizens, and the National Assembly and government, in their wisdom, provided for subsidy in 2022, and also up to the half of 2023. But the reality also is that even as provisions were made, there were no funding of this subsidy requirement. That means NNPC was carrying the burden of this subsidy since the beginning of 2022 up to this date. And it has gotten to a point where this company, this corporation, which is now a private company, can no longer bear it. The Federation is unable to pay its bill on subsidy. And therefore, ultimately, because this is impacting on the cash flow of the NNPC, it is impossible to continue to bear this. And what Mr. President merely did is to bring into effect the provisions of the law and the very reality that we do not have the resources to continue to carry this. This is really what happened. It's not really about whether the corporation was doing it in the eyes of the storm in the past or not, but the reality today is that NNPC is a very private company. It is supposed to pay taxes and royalties as every other company, and also declare dividend to its shareholders, in this case, the overwhelming Nigerian population. So definitely, this is an unavoidable situation. Because you can't give what you don't have. This is really where we are.
All right. Well, what are the visible changes that are expected, especially with regard to market dynamics?
First and foremost, the demand and supply dynamics will play out. Petroleum products, all petroleum products, actually priced at international prices. This market shifts every day. It can go up, it can come down. Also, by pulling out this subsidy, you're actually triggering competition into the market. And therefore, efficiency becomes critical. Companies will compete in the areas of efficiency. You will see private sector people bringing in product into this country. Even whenever we have production domestically, while the market forces will still play, you will see competition among players, and consumers will be protected because market forces will now come into play. Therefore, the changes we will see is that there will be stability in pricing, stability in supply, because you will have many players in the market, and more than anything else, you will see the value that would have gone into individuals' benefit, in terms of customer marketing companies, individuals taking advantage of this regime to take some of these benefits. The advantage will vanish, and therefore resources will now be available for better use by government. The sub-nationals, local governments, state governments, and even the federal government will have more resources in their hand so that they can deliver better value to them. So this will become very, very obvious in a very short while, and I believe that Nigerians will benefit from this. There will be short-term pains, no doubt about it. Whenever you have prices increase, you will have, issues around inflation, issues around ability to even meet basic demands. But I know that the market will stabilize this. Those effects will minimize. Consumption patterns will change, and government will create more resources, more jobs, and ultimately you will see the benefits coming on the table. Is that going to happen tomorrow? Maybe not, but you will see the immediate benefits in terms of alleviating the pains that will come to people. I'm aware that government is taking steps to ensure those pains will be relieved in short term and in the long term. But overall, and I believe that this action that government has taken, or the reality that has done by the provision of the law, will translate into taking out those value that today, I'm sure you may be aware, Cyril, that in very many locations in the country today, no one is enjoying the control price of petroleum, the regulated price of petroleum. In reality, it doesn't happen. In many parts in the southwest, many of the border states where access to this is difficult. Across the country, you will see that when you live in major townships, you cannot see those prices being enjoyed by the ordinary people. Today, the ordinary people are taking two hits. One is the government is subsidizing imports, and secondly, the value of that subsidy is actually going to individual benefit. And I think when you pull all this together, at the end of the day, the less privileged, the vulnerable will actually be the ultimate beneficiaries. Of course, there will be disproportionate sharing of pains because those who don't have will have difficulty meeting some of their basic requirements. But other than that, in the long term, the overall beneficiary will be the ordinary people.
Well, just today, the House of Representatives is asking for removal of subsidy from every other petroleum product. That presupposes that apart from petrol, other products have been subsidized. Now, the question is this: how will the NNPC Limited navigate this proposed transition to a subsidy-free market? And what role do you see the company playing in this?
First and foremost, as by virtue of the position we have found ourselves today, there is no subsidy on any petroleum product today now. So it's all over, and this is the reality that we're facing today. So all other products, diesel, kerosene, and all other products of petrol, they're actually not subsidized. So we are happy that the National Assembly has taken this position, and it has actually come to at the right moment in our country. Now, secondly, what do we do to make sure that this is sustained? First and foremost, the market will determine the prices going forward. There will be competition. And for NNPC, it's not what we like to do. Even by law today, once this subsidy regime becomes established, others are able to bring in petroleum product into the country. By law, we cannot actually continue to be the sole importer of petroleum product because you are only limited by the anti-competition law to 30% of every market that you do. So you don't create any monopoly. And naturally, NNPC will exit this space, and it will continue to be a supplier of rice. Yes, we agree by law, I will do this, but you see more players in the market. We are taking a very clear step to ensure that supply is available today until the private sector is able to come into play. And this is not distant away. I'm sure that you are aware, Mr. President has said there will be uniformity of FX rates in the country. Once that happens, commercial people, trading companies will now have the confidence to bring in product into the country. There will be more inflow of foreign direct investment. That means you will have more dollars in our system or other currencies, and ultimately you will see a very stable market where consumers will be protected by virtue of provisions of the law, and also the market forces now take control of what we are doing.
All right, on a final note, quickly, many Nigerians are at a loss for words at this point in time. So what assurances are you giving? Are you sticking out to say we won't see the scarcity anymore and that the queues have finally disappeared?
Very often the biggest source of our troubles in this country around petroleum fuel scarcity is actually demand and supply issues, logistics. And I know that many things have been done at this moment to ensure that those disruptions that happen as a result of disruption to the supply chain vanish. Now, once you have a regulated environment, you have the regulated environment where others can bring in product into the country, you will have more supply, more certainty, and also market is no longer regulated, and simply means that you will have more supply, more distribution, more efficiencies. And I believe that issues of fuel queue, except something a force majeure that we cannot foresee happens, I believe that will be a thing of the past.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Mele Kyari, Group CEO of NNPC Limited, thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much, Cyril.
Thank you.
Thank you.